Hello, welcome back to my channel Med Connection. To introduce myself, my name is Dr. Sugandha. I work as a doctor here in New Delhi. In today's informative video, we'll talk about diabetes. We'll do some videos on diabetes. First of all, we'll talk about what is diabetes and its types in today's video. In the rest of the next videos, we'll talk about the risk factors, the causes, symptoms, and the complications that may lead that will be caused by diabetes. Other than that, we'll talk about how will we diagnose diabetes and its management. So let's begin. So what is diabetes? Diabetes is a chronic health condition that affects our body's ability to turn food into energy. Our body breaks down most of the food particles we eat into sugar, that is glucose, and then transport it into various other tissues of the body, which then utilize it for energy. So diabetes is a metabolic disorder where our body is no longer able to produce enough insulin, which is important to control blood sugar. Sugar is either being produced in very small amounts, less quantity, or it is not being produced enough at all, and because of that the body's blood sugar level starts to get elevated. So in short terms, or in layman language, the diabetes is basically a state of high sugar level because of the inadequate action of hormone insulin. Now let's talk about the different types of diabetes. Well, there are two main types of diabetes in simple language. There are other forms also, but first of all we'll talk about these two main variations, and then we'll move ahead with the other forms of diabetes. Now let's talk about type 1 and type 2. Type 1 condition, it is most commonly seen in children and teenagers and really young adults. It is basically an autoimmune condition where our immune system attacks our own cells of the pancreas, our body, which is responsible for making insulin. Well, there is a form of cell in the pancreas which we call as a beta cell, which makes insulin. So it attacks, this form of diabetes attack those cells. Okay, now the other second type of diabetes is the type 2. Here the production of insulin is very less or insufficient or inadequate, that whatever insulin that is being produced, it is not acting properly, and thus we call it type 2 diabetes. Over the time, your pancreas also stops making enough insulin. So it is generally linked to a combination of genetic and lifestyle factors. Well, apart from these two main category of diabetes, there is a third form of diabetes which is really important because it happens during pregnancy, which we call as the gestational diabetes, which occurs in response to changes in hormones, which usually becomes really active during pregnancy. So type 1, type 2 and gestational diabetes are very common, but these are not the only forms of diabetes. So that was all about today's video. In today's video we discussed about what is diabetes and what are the different forms of diabetes. In the next video we'll talk about the causes and the risk factors which are associated with diabetes. So please stay tuned, and also don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment on my channel, and thank you so much for watching.